This is Hoodies. And I don't know. I don't see Juneteenth like that. I don't see Juneteenth as. I don't know. Juneteenth to me is just not necessarily June 19th, of course. Juneteenth is not necessarily a day that I think. This is just me. I ain't saying y'all got to think the way I think. And regardless of what I think, regardless of what my POV is, go with your own. I would encourage everybody to do that. But I do not see Juneteenth as, a day to barbecue and kick it and do all that. Nah, if anything, it's more like a reminder of why we should be pissed. You know what I'm saying? Some information was withheld from us for 2 years. You know what I'm saying? From 1863 to 1865. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, I don't see it like that. It's not a day for celebration to me. It's not a day for shopping. It's a day that we should, like I said, it's a day we should be pissed. It's a day we should be reminded of how deceptive, how deceptive folk can be. Particularly white supremacists. You know what I mean? That should be a reminder. And I get it. There's seems to be a war brewing with Iran being bombed by Israel, right? And don't get me wrong, there's already a war going on. Not to minimize the potential of that one, but there's already a war going on. There's a war going on in here. There's a war going on with the food and shit. Excuse my language. Whenever I ever say excuse my language, I'm just trying to uphold, not using profanity within a certain amount of minutes but none of it's worked. So fuck it. Anyway, but y'all get the point. It's always, there's a war already going on with black folk amongst each other, within ourselves. Listen, there are a lot of married men. It's a war going on inside their homes. Married men and married women. There's a war going on at home. We already got a war going on. You know what I'm saying? And not to mention, man, when it comes to things like Juneteenth and things of that nature, not everybody, but a decent portion of us got a half-ass sense of our own history. And I'm not going to blame it on the system, the school system, any of those things, because I've said before that I get why that schools don't teach crap. I get it. They can't afford to have self-reliant, self-sufficient folk. They can't be pushing them out of high school, coming out of high school ready to be entrepreneurs and ready to be self-sufficient. Well, if that happens, who's going to drop the fries? You know what I'm saying? Who's going to drop the fries? Who's going to wash the cars? Who's going to vacuum the floor? You know what I mean? Who's going to wait the tables? These are and I'm not trying to minimize and say that those jobs are crap. I'm just saying there's a reason why schools don't really teach crap. Because at the end of the day, it's really up to us. It's really up to us. Parents, grandparents, uncles. It's really up to us. You know what I'm saying? Homeschool would be dope, but I understand that a lot of us can't afford that. We can't afford to do that. Single parents, military, things of that nature. Can't afford to do that. But maybe weekly, maybe bi-weekly, hey, start in your own home with your own kids, nieces and nephews. Become acquainted with your neighbors if you can. Bring their kids on in. All of them on in. And then, hey, save this name. Anthony Browder. Anthony Browder. Been rocking with him for years. Anthony Browder. Keyword him into YouTube. Sit down in front of his content and watch it. I would suggest maybe watch it a little bit yourself and then bring your kids in. Or we can all learn together. I say we because we all connected. All learn together. But I think once a week or bi-weekly, we should bring the youth together and teach them what the schools don't. Bring them together and teach them what the schools won't. Let's supplement the education if we ain't going to do a full-on homeschool. Because our so-called enemy, our so-called oppressors, the so-called system of white supremacy and racism and so forth, and yes, it is real, I don't believe it's the cause of everything black folk go through, but a decent portion of it. I'm saying I'm not with the victim thing and pointing the finger all the time. There's some things that we could do better in. That's another story. However, we have to supplement. We just can't put everything on the system. We can't put everything on them to teach our kids history and about who we are. Why would they do that? Why would they empower us? Why would they do that? Why would they teach us and show us who we really are? You understand what I'm saying? In the words of the great John Henry Clark, listen.
For a people to be truly independent, they must have an independent educational system. If they are dependent on another people's educational system, they are dependent on another people's information. No other people feeds into another people that kind of information that gives that people the ability to dominate them.
Word. The late elder John Henry Clark said it better than I ever could. And I've always loved the way he speaks in that content, in his content. You know what I'm saying? But real quick, before we finish the intro, welcome back to another dope session of HOODIES the podcast. I'm the host, Degar Rashidi, coming at you live from the Skill Suite. Or maybe not so live, but we coming at you. Yo, let's put one in the air for HOODIES the podcast. Word. Let's go ahead and get right on into this thing. All right? Yeah. All right, so listen, y'all know me. You know what I mean? Y'all know me, man. Y'all know I be getting a lot of these videos and I get the inspiration for a lot of content. I'll be on X. I'll be on X just scrolling through sometimes. A lot of times with the intention of looking for something that'll spark something that I can bring forth, you know what I mean, to the HOODIES universe. You know what I mean? So without further ado, let's go ahead and do this real quick.
I hope it don't make me all nice and mushy.
A newer, gentler kimboslice?
I don't know. That's like an oxymoron, man. That can't go. Like oil and water. It just can't mix. I guess whenever I decide to shave the beard, that's when I'll probably put Kimbo at rest. But would Kimbo ever be at rest? I always felt like I'll fight anybody because everybody was the enemy, you know, and now I'm here without nothing, away from everyone, and I really took the time to find out, you know, who the enemy was, and it's not that it was the enemy, it was the enemy, the enemy, the enemy, the inner me. Sometimes you realize the true you is the enemy.
So yo, shout out to the late Kimboslice. He was a bad motherfucker. Yeah, he was a bad motherfucker. He was a bad boy. Kimboslice. Rest easy, rest well, king, champ, God. So listen, how many of us have talked about some things or just happened to be thinking some things and then went to social media and then bam, you ran into something that was similar to what you was thinking, similar to a conversation you had, either with yourself or with somebody else. So since, we've been in the realm of shadow work and things like that, I'm still on that. I guess that's just where I'm at right now, right? So isn't it amazing though how when left to our own devices, just without all the other distractions and things like that, people and just distractions, period. And when it's just you, in the quiet or, something like that, the things that you come to realize about yourself, that's if you are a person who's serious about doing inner work in order to be a better version of yourself. I mean, I'm rocking with that. I'd like to think I'm doing the work, right? But in doing the work, right? And we already talked about how to do shadow work, journaling, meditating, and things of that nature, right? And then bringing those things of ourselves that we keep hitting to the forefront, and integrating those things into our everyday practical life so we can live fuller lives and be a better version of ourselves, right? Blah blah blah, whoop de whoop, right? Oftentimes when we don't do that, as a result of not doing the work, not doing therapy, not meditating, not journaling or whatever, see, things, at a loss for words because there's so much stuff in here, right? So, for example, self-sabotage. That's some deep-rooted shit that's on the inside of us, right? And like the late brother Kimboslice said, when you're secluded and away from everything, everybody, and all these distractions and things like that, all your vices, you then come to realize that the enemy is the inner me. You see what I'm saying? He had to go inside. He had to go inside and realize that it was him. He had to go in and realize that his enemy was the inner me, right? That's what's missing. So while we're homeschooling, that supplement in school, weekly or bi-weekly, say every Saturday evening or every Sunday afternoon or whatever the case is, it wouldn't hurt to throw that in there too, to the youth, to get them to kind of deal with some of their issues early on, right? So we said something about self-sabotage. You won't even be aware that you're doing it if you don't go inside and tap into the inner you. I would never know certain things about myself if I didn't go in, if I didn't tap in and work on the inner me. It's just not possible. You just keep doing the same thing over and over again. The same cycle over and over again because nobody's doing the work. You know what I'm saying? Because everything that we're going through in our lives, it's ain't rocket science, but it's as a result of our decisions. The decisions we've made. Every situation that I'm going through right now is happening because of the decisions I've made. Even if you're around here avoiding making decisions, even if you're trying to avoid making decisions, not making a decision is still making a decision. You see what I'm saying? We are all in the position that if you overweight, that's a choice. That's a decision you've made to compulsively eat. You know what I'm saying? Or do more eating than exercising. It's a decision, a choice to not hit the gym. You know what I'm saying? That's a choice. Everything that's popping in my life that ain't right, well, hey, even the things that's going good, it is all as per my decisions. All mine. Anything bad that happens to me is because I did it to myself. Yeah, listen, I'm not trying to let nobody off the hook. Yeah, people do things to us. You know what I mean? They either do things to us by talking about us, you know what I'm saying? Hurting us in some sort of way. I'm not letting people off the hook. It's one thing if you don't know that people ain't for you. It's another thing to know that they ain't for you, but you're so busy people pleasing that you allow it to go on. That's another thing that you can't find out unless you tap in and get to know the inner you. Because you just may come to find out, like I've been saying, that the enemy is the inner me. I found with Brother Kimbo, the late Brother Kimboslice, I found that what he said, I found it to be extremely profound. Sometimes, most of the time, I'm going to say, we were the enemy. You know what I'm saying? If you're a big time religious person, And you've been, listen, how many, show of hands for people who's known people since forever, been super sanctified, super religious, right? Whether you Christian, Muslim, or otherwise. Now you're an adult now, and you come around them, and their condition hasn't changed very much. They still praying. They still praying. And not much has changed. You know what I'm saying? Or declaring that there is no God but Allah. I believe they call that a shahada. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's what it is. And yet you're avoiding making the tough decisions. Therefore, your life is what it is. When you see successful folk, really successful folk, they're successful because of their decisions. They made the decisions. A lot of them have also probably most likely made the decision to keep negative ass people the fuck out of their lives. You know what I mean? A lot of successful people have learned early on, you know what I'm saying, to set boundaries. Set those boundaries. Let's keep it funky, man. A lot of us are just fucking soft. That's why we don't create those boundaries. And I get it. There's a reason for the softness. That's probably all trauma too. It's all trauma. You allowing certain people in your life because you want them to you want them to validate you. You want them to look over and say, you know what, listen, to hear, I'm proud of you. You're doing a great job. That would be nice. But something's wrong when you feel as though you're nothing unless you get it. Your approval is the one that matters the most. I know I've said that 1,000 times. And if that's how you feel, your enemy is your enemy. Your enemy, you get it. That's why it's important to do the work. Take it from somebody who's going through the same thing. Take it from somebody who gets uncomfortable with realizing certain things about themselves. You know what I mean? I'm a poofer. Oh man, I'm a poofer. I'm quick to run. And then there's a part of me that sometimes feels, I don't know, bad when I do poof someone. Listen, poofing, meaning deciding to stop, keeping in touch with folk. Sometimes it's necessary. Now, I don't care who it is. I don't care who you poof. Sometimes it's necessary. And I'll feel bad for doing what I know is right. You know what I mean? It's just certain energies I don't want to be around. There's just certain folk, I don't like the way you move. Love you. But I'm cool. I'm good off you. No love lost. But I'll feel bad sometimes, keeping it funky. I'll feel bad for doing that. For doing what's best for me. That's something I'm still digging and scratching and searching for on the inside, trying to figure out what the fuck is going on with that. It's a good thing to protect your peace. You know what I mean? It's a good thing this. Great thing this, right? But any decisions that we make or fail to make, you know what I'm saying? Ultimately, it's from decisions that we've made. Any position that we're in, for the most part, is because of the decisions that we made. You chose to kick it with that broad, and you knew she wasn't shit. Sister, you chose to kick it with that dude. You chose that. The signs were there. For whatever reasons, we ignore them. I think I speak for everybody when I say we probably all been there. We probably all been there. Red flag staring you right there in the face. But you overlook it because she fine. That ass is fat. Woo. Super fat. So we put up with certain things. You know what I'm saying? You ever been with a real fine woman and she was just crazy as hell? And you noticed it. And you said to her, you lucky you cute. You lucky you cute. You lucky you pretty. Or is it just me? You know, that's a decision you chose to do. I mean, a decision you chose to make. Listen, there's a brother right now going through, there's a brother and a sister going through hell right now. Because they both chose to get with each other and they knew damn well, nah. No. Y'all saw the signs. Y'all ain't compatible. But you made the decision. You know what I'm saying? The enemy was the enemy. And look, your inner you, because maybe you've done no work, you're a chatty patty. You're a yapper. Always talking, always running your mouth, always trying to come off smarter than what you really are. So you're always constantly yapping. You know what I mean? People who yap a lot, for the most part, end up saying things that they know they shouldn't say. Yappers. Y'all ever heard of a white dude named Robert Greene? He's the author of 48 Laws of Power, The Art of Seduction, The Laws of Human Nature. He actually wrote a book with 50 Cent called The 50th Law. Let's see what he has to say about talking too much. Let's check this out right here.
By talking too much in a meeting or in any kind of situation, you make people inadvertently smell weakness on you. A lot of communication between humans is nonverbal. We feel, we sense something from you, and it communicates, and we have an impression. And people who talk a lot generally give an impression of they don't know how to control themselves. Whereas people who kind of say a little bit less, who kind of speak in riddles almost, who say, yeah, that's great, I'll think about it, or whatever, gives off an impression of power, as if they know more than they actually do. Mm-hmm. Because the game of power, a lot of it has to do with appearances. So I studied, for writing the book, some of the most powerful people in history, kings and CEOs and presidents, and inevitably they had that quality, or they knew how to control their tongue. The other thing is, if you talk too much, you're going to inevitably say something stupid. Right. Inevitably say something stupid. Right.
Inevitably say something stupid.
Word. I'd like to think that I know how to control my tongue. I'm not a yapper. I mean, I'm on here. I talk on here. But outside of here, how many people you know can say, oh, I sat on the phone with him for hours? Not a lot. Not a lot. Yes, it's some. Not a lot. Not a lot. I can count on one hand. Shit, I can probably count on 3 fingers. You know what I'm saying? So I'm talking to myself when I as I say this to y'all. Do the work. Do the work. And when you do the work, you'll come most likely to the same conclusion that I've come to. Is that shadow work is necessary, because you'll come to realize, if you ever get some time to meditate and sit in the quiet, away from distractions and things that distract you, people that distract you, you'll come to realize, you know what I'm saying, that the enemy is the enemy. Word. Yo. So just like that, NBA season is over. It's over, man. And it was a decent season. Decent playoff run. Shout out to the Oklahoma City Thunder on their first ever championship in franchise history. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to SGA, who's got, let's see, hold on. What's SGA got? What's he got? SGA, MVP, Western Conference Finals MVP, and Finals MVP. And they just won the chip on top of all of that. Ladies and gentlemen, what we have just witnessed is the birth of a superstar. You know what I'm saying? In Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. We have just witnessed a superstar. Now, he can fall off his square and have a crappy career from here on out. But based off a consistent season, well, that's a team effort. But with him being a leader, there's been a consistent season, best record in the NBA period, and in various MVPs, and then winning the chip. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Tyrese Halliburton, who went down Game 7 with a torn Achilles. And once again, shouting out SGA, who actually went to Tyrese Halliburton's locker room to show him some love after he popped his ACL. So that was some dope sportsmanship right there. But once again, shout out to Oklahoma City Thunder, NBA world champs. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty dope. So it is now officially the offseason. And they're getting busy already. Yo. Meaning these teams. First thing to pop off, I believe that was yesterday. Maybe yesterday, day before, one of those. The Boston Celtics have traded Drew Holiday to the Portland Trail Blazers for Anthony Simons. Is that Simmons or Simons? I'm going to say Simons. And 2 second-round picks. You know what I'm saying? That's as per ESPN. If you've been watching, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't it. And by the way, the Pacers Thunder, the Game 7 that just popped off on Sunday was the most watched NBA Finals games. It's the most watched NBA Finals game in 6 years with an average audience of 16.4 million viewers. That's what's up, and everybody swore the ratings was down. I guess it just goes to show the thrill, and all the electricity that comes along with Game 7s. Word. So I appreciate both teams for making that happen, right? So back to the trades. There's also been another trade. There was another trade. The Pelicans traded C.J. McCollum to the Wizards for Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, and a number 40 pick. You know what I'm saying? They also send Kelly Olynyk and a future second-round pick to the Wizards. You know what I'm saying? So Jordan Poole is in New Orleans now, the New Orleans Pelicans. So that's another trade. You know what I'm saying? And I'm being told that the Celtics are seriously considering trading Jaylen Brown. I think that might be rumor. From what I hear, I think I saw something. I saw some clip with Brad Stevens, and Brad Stevens was saying that. And listen, I ain't gonna front. I trust Brad Stevens. So far, he's made some really good decisions for the Boston Celtics. So I'm gonna keep trusting him now. He did as GM of the team. So I've heard him say that. Listen, if they get wowed like such a great offer that's so dope, that they will consider trading Jaylen Brown. You know what I'm saying? I would say keep him, but that's why I ain't the GM. You know what I'm saying? And various other reasons. But I'm thinking Jaylen Brown, Anthony Simons, and maybe they're going to get some more pieces to go along with that. So not a bad lineup until Jason Tatum gets back, right? Not only that, let's see, hold on. Not only that, but I'm trying to look for it, but I can't find it. But anyway, Kristaps Porzingis was also traded. Kristaps Porzingis has been traded to the Atlanta Hawks, but he was a part of, I think, a 3-team trade, something like that. Hold on. Yeah. He's been traded to the Hawks in a 3-team trade. So listen. The Atlanta Hawks received Kristaps Porzingis and 2 second-round picks. The Celtics received George Niang. I'm not familiar with that player. I ain't going to front. Along with 2 second-round picks. And the Nets received Terrence Mann and a number 22 pick. Those are the 3 teams. Celtics, of course, Hawks, and the Nets. So that's the deal with that. Also, almost forgot. Kevin Durant was traded to the Houston Rockets. He was with the Phoenix Suns. Got traded to the Houston Rockets for Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks. I think Kevin Durant will do good there. I've always said that Kevin Durant can't be on a team where he's the leader. That won't work. He's on record for saying he don't want to be the leader like that. He don't want to do that. All he wants to do is hoop, which is why things worked out the way they did in Golden State. Steph ain't the leader, by the way. It was Draymond. Draymond Green was the leader of that squad. It can't be Kevin Durant. Great player, great IQ, all those things. But if he's the leader, it's not going to work. So in Houston, the coach, Ime Udoka, who also just signed an extension, he's a good leader. I'm of the belief that he is what Kevin Durant needs. Kevin Durant needs someone who's going to get up in his grill, get up in his face, empower him, but also let him know you can do better. Like, come on, it's going to get him to dig deeper. You know what I'm saying? So I think that will work, personally. I think that will work in Houston. Who else? What else? I think that's about it. In terms of trades and things. Real quick, let me check and see if there's been more. Spurs, Pacers making trade. San Antonio sending number 38 pick to end. Oh, the draft is tonight. So I'm going to hurry up and get off here and check out the draft. I don't know why. I don't watch college ball like that. I only know one name, and that's Cooper Flagg. And the Dallas Mavericks got the number 1 pick. So if anything, I just want to see if Dallas decides to keep him or if they're going to use him as leverage to get another player to come there. And also with the Mavs, Kyrie Irving just signed an extension, a long-term extension. I forget the amount, but yeah, man, that's all that's popping right now with the league. I know there's going to be more. I'm sure the Celtics is going to make some more moves. I'm curious to see what Chicago does. Curious to see what the Lakers do. Curious to see what the Warriors do. All those things, man. So it's the offseason. So I don't know. I'm thinking maybe I'll talk about some WNBA games. I'm thinking that's kind of fake, though, because I don't really watch it like that. Ice Cube's got a league, the Big Three. I'll figure it out. But that's all I got. Once again, shout out to the Oklahoma City Thunder. You know what I'm saying? Winning the chip, first time in franchise history. They was able to complete what Kevin Durant, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and the rest of them dudes couldn't. They brought a chip home. Word up. Damn, like I said, the season's over now. The season is over. Damn. Word. Yeah, man, that's all I gotta say about that, man. And it's officially summer. It's officially the summer. Yeah, man. That's all I gotta say about that. Alright? Yeah. So listen. I'm gonna beat a dead horse real quick. I would encourage everybody to do therapy. Tend to their mental health is what I'm trying to say. Tend to your mental health. Do the work. You know what I'm saying? Really confront those issues, that trauma. Hey, listen, if need be, confront the persons who said or did something to you in your past, if you can, if they're still living and things of that nature. Just do the work, man. Do the work. This was something that was sent to me not too long ago, right? It reads, "Life is a battlefield." Okay? Check me out. Life is a battlefield. Don't you know that life is like a military campaign? One must serve on watch, another in reconnaissance, and another on the front line. So it is for us. Each person's life is a kind of battle, and a long and varied one too. You must keep watch like a soldier and do everything commanded. You have been stationed in a key post, not some lowly place, and not for a short time, but for life. I can't pronounce the name, but that's Epictetus Discourses 3.24.31-36. Listen, We just talked about Robert Greene, right? The writer Robert Greene often uses the phrase, as in war, so in life. It's an aphorism I'm probably not pronouncing that right, but that's an aphorism worth keeping close, because your life is a battle, right? It's a battle both literally and figuratively. As a species, we fight to survive on a planet indifferent to our survival, right? Meaning this planet don't give a damn if we survive or not. The universe didn't give a damn if we survive or not. The universe responds to us. But anyway, that's not what he wrote, by the way. Okay. As individuals, we fight to survive among a species whose population numbers in millions, even inside our own bodies. Diverse bacteria battle it out. Right? Don't know if that made sense. Inside our own bodies, diverse bacteria battle it out. He's talking about a war inside. Right? Pretty much what we've been talking about, right? Vivere e militare. Pronounced that super wrong. To live is to fight is what that means. I know not what language that is. Today you'll be fighting for your goal. Fighting against impulses. Fighting to be the person you want to be. So what are the attributes necessary to win these many wars? These attributes are discipline, fortitude, courage, clear-headedness, selflessness, and sacrifice. Okay? And which attributes lose wars? Those attributes that lose wars would be cowardice, rashness, disorganization, overconfidence, weakness, selfishness. As in war, so these attributes matter in daily life. This book is from the Daily Stoic. This page, this chapter here is from the Daily Stoic. That's a nugget right there. So further, just going deep into what I was already saying. You know what I'm saying? Because, and just like, life is a battlefield. Even the mind is a battlefield. The body is a battlefield. You're fighting off negative thoughts. You're fighting off traumas. You're fighting off bacteria. You're fighting impulses to not overeat. You're fighting impulses to not overdrink. You're fighting impulses to not snort coke. You're fighting impulses to not fuck all the time. You're fighting impulses to not be a simp. You're fighting impulses to not talk so damn much. You're fighting impulses to give up when you're doing the shadow work and you see the ugly parts of yourself. We're fighting all those things, man. Life, it's a freaking battlefield. You know what I'm saying? It's a battlefield. And oftentimes, when you do the work, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, like the late Kimbo said, you'll realize that the enemy is the enemy. Dig what I'm saying? Word. I wish you all well on your journeys, man. On your journeys doing shadow work, therapy, meditating, all those things. As far as meditating is concerned, I'm telling you, just start with 5 minutes. Start with 5 lousy minutes. Tap in and introduce yourself to yourself. Word. So before I get out of here, man, shout out to everyone who's lost a loved one. Who may have, not fared so well when it came to doing shadow work. Perhaps the trauma was too much. And they're no longer here now for whatever reasons. Maybe they due to drinking too much, drugs, or just bad health all around, due to whatever reasons. My condolences for your loss. And by the way, if you or someone suffers from depression, and maybe you feel like you no longer want to be here, once again, you dial 988 from your phone, and it'll connect you with a suicide prevention line. Okay? If you're feeling that way, please do that. Please. You know what I'm saying? Life won't be the same without you. Please do that. Right? At the same time, I also want to give a shout out to everybody with a born day today. I salute you. New life, more life. I don't care if you fresh out the womb or you've been here a while. Happy born day to you, man. This is your day. This is your day, man. This is your day. Shine. And listen, it's the summer. It's the summer, man. You know what I mean? My birthday's next month. I'm gonna be the big 5. Word. 5, man. 5. And just be clear. Some of you may have the other day, some of you may have felt a tremor. Because in July 9th, 1:52 a.m. Okay, Michael Reese Hospital ain't around no more, but July 9th, 1:52 a.m. the God was born. The seas roared, the winds howled, the animals stopped. And you may have felt the tremor the other day. Because the 9th is coming. Oh yeah, the 9th is coming. The day a God was born. Yeah. Word. You know what I mean? But check it, man. Thank y'all for watching. Thank you for listening to me babble. Shout out to everybody who's fighting battles, man. Who's actually doing the work and fighting battles that don't nobody else know about. But yet every day, you know what I'm saying, you show up in spite of. Once again, I salute you. I salute you again. You know what I'm saying? Because I know it ain't easy. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's a possible war getting ready to pop off. I don't wish that. I'm just saying that to say that for a lot of us, we're already at war. We are already at war. Family, ourselves, decision making. We are already at war. You know what I'm saying? Don't give up, man. We need you. Keep fighting. Because, like I always say, we only got 2 choices, man. And that's to make it or make it. You know what I'm saying? Quitting is not an option. You may not necessarily be where you want to be. You are just where you are temporarily. You're not staying there, especially if you're doing the work. You ain't gonna stay there. So fret not about where you are at the moment. Keep doing the work. Stay at it. Listen, if I'm being honest, I'm not necessarily where I would like to be, but I know I'm not gonna be here forever. It ain't over. It ain't over till it's over, man. Watch how you talk to yourself. The mind don't know the difference. Even in the midst of going through some shit, take it easy on yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be so harsh. Give yourself some grace. You're still learning, man. You're still learning. You're still learning. Word. Take that with you, man. If nobody's told you that you're special, if nobody's told you that you matter, you matter. I'm telling you. You dig what I'm saying? You ain't just watching this or hearing this by accident. Dead ass. But again, thank you for listening to me babble. This has been real. Thank you for your likes, your subs, and your shares. I appreciate all of yous. Thank you for your good energy. You know what I'm saying? As I keep sending it to y'all. That's how that works. You know what I'm saying? No bad energy. You know what I'm saying? Just good energy. Just good, warm energy, man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to get out of here and catch this draft before it's over, if it's not over already. And give me something to eat. So, yeah, man. Y'all, tongue tied. Y'all stay up. I'm going to go off Rashidi. This is Hoodies, man. You know what I'm saying? Peace. Hey. This is Hoodies.